And I know that they have lemonade, but you have to order fresh lemonade. And it's different than lemonade, which is just Sierra Mist or Sprite or 7-Up. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. As I'm sure you can tell from the title, this is a very different type of video than what we normally make. However, before we get too far into it, hit that subscribe button down below.
And follow our socials with the link in the description.
Perfect, let's dive on in.
We're coming up on our 2-year anniversary of living here in England. So, over the past 2 years, we've done a lot of reflection, which means today's video is gonna be about things we do not understand about the UK.
We kind of broken it down into a couple different categories. We realized so much of that had to deal with looking back at our time when we were looking for houses, and then also food, and then just kind of miscellaneous stuff that didn't really fit into either of those categories. So, first category, homes. So way back when, 2 years ago, when we were looking for a place, one of the first things we noticed is that there are no outlets inside of the bathrooms. So it works for us because our house is luckily big enough that we have a separate room in which I get ready in. So I can plug in my straightener, my curler, my hair. But like, what do UK, like what do British women do to get ready when there's no outlet? So like the only room in the house that comes with a mirror doesn't have an outlet for you to do your hair in. It blows my mind, but there is a separate like plug-in specifically for shavers because they run at a different voltage. But if the problem is that they're afraid people are gonna electrocute themselves with a dryer, like a hair dryer, because there's water in the bathroom, then why are there plugs in the kitchen?
Specifically in our kitchen, there's a washroom that has a sink that also has an outlet right on top of it. So there's high voltage next to water. It doesn't quite make sense with the logic there. Part 2 of the house categories that we don't understand is the washroom in our kitchen has 2 separate taps, one for cold, one for hot. So it's not in the middle, and it's this awkward guessing game trying to find the perfect temperature so you don't either freeze yourself or burn yourself.
I want to know who is using that tap. Who is like, no, I need just boiling water and then immediately I need just freezing water. Like it's gotta be for something, right? But like they have them at my work. I've seen them in other UK homes. I don't know what that feature is for. Like I've seen them in bathrooms too when you go places where it's just one or the other. So it's like, do you have, and then you swap, and then you swap, like.
You just both turn them to max, and then you're struggling to just
like,
the water.
Oh, now I have a lukewarm water.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I'm sure there's a use for it, but I just don't understand. Speaking of kitchens, the other thing that I just blows my mind is when we were looking at places, so many houses had a washing machine like next to the dishwasher in the kitchen. And that's just, I mean, it's really foreign to me. We're living in a foreign country, haha. But like, I'm sure it has to do with plumbing, and I'm sure it has to do with like technology developing and plumbing developing over time for new needs. I'm sure, but like I feel really lucky because we have like a laundry nook, like a little tiny, it's not even a room because it doesn't have a door or anything on it, but it's just a countertop, washer, dryer, and then some cabinet space. And that's it. And like that, this might be the only home we looked at that had a laundry nook and not just washer dryer.
And so alongside washers, you would have a dryer, right? Or at least
Wrong.
You would think you would have a dryer. As we've again looked around house hunting, a lot of places either didn't have room for a dryer, or they had outside clothes racks where you could place your clothes.
Which would make sense if you lived someplace where the weather is gorgeous all the time. And while it does not rain nearly as much as I thought it was going to, like the stereotype is that it rains every day. That's not true. However, it does rain quite a bit.
It does.
Or it's cloudy enough that I don't feel like your clothes would get thoroughly dry.
And if you're trying to dry your clothes at like this time of year where the sun's setting anywhere from 5 to 6 and it's just gonna get darker. You dry your clothes. Like, you're waking up as soon as you can and hoping that you're gonna get enough sunlight that it's gonna dry your clothes. It doesn't make sense at all.
And I'm sure that the real answer is, you get a drying rack for your house, but then like you just have your pants all over the place.
You almost need another room
just to dry. This is where a laundry room would come in.
Yeah, and it doesn't quite make sense.
Next note on homes would be closets or built-in wardrobes, or the lack thereof. So I felt, again, we're really lucky with our house because we have a pretty much full-size built-in wardrobe and then a half one, which works out well because I can put all my clothes in the full-size one and you can put all your clothes in the half one. But we looked at so many places that just did not have closets, which I guess I've just taken for granted over the years. That like, I always thought like, we'd have a walk-in closet where like you could literally, there's clothes. But like, no, it's like, it's not like that. And I know you can get a wardrobe. Cool. But that takes up more of an already small bedroom. Or at least it feels small to us. So I don't know, like, why not just build closets? Especially with like, we live in a semi-newer home and we have 4 bedrooms, I guess is what it would be marketed as, but only like we have a closet and a half. I don't understand it.
So the last note on homes is air conditioning. Now, I kind of understand this one because it's not hot here all year round or even really hot during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
But these houses are kind of designed to keep heat in. So during the summer when that week, 2 weeks hits, it's
toasty.
miserable. It's really hot.
Which would be great if you could open up windows. And that's what I'm sure people do. But there's no bug screen. So if you open up the window, we've got cats in the neighborhood. They're really friendly. I don't think our dog would appreciate it that often. But like, yeah, there's no screen protector.
And most people that we know, which granted most of them are from the base, have air conditioning units anyway. Most places don't have them either unless they're hospitals or...
Yeah, like most businesses don't have them.
Most businesses don't have them. It just seems bizarre, and it's not like even in the summer. It's good temperature, hot, good temperature. It gets warm and it stays warm for quite a while, especially now.
It's really funny. So we have a Dyson fan that it's an American plug. So we have a transformer that helps us use our higher voltage things for the US, convert it to the UK. So like we can use those types of appliances. Which means that in the summer when it gets really hot, Jordan takes this Dyson fan with him from room to room, like an old man with his oxygen tank hanging on for dear life. And he's like taking the transformer thing with him. It's really funny. I guess that's how you get your workout in the summer.
I don't like the heat. Can't stand it. I love the cold.
No, I can't stand it.
But so you might think I'm a little ridiculous hauling that around, but let me tell you, it gets hot when these things keep in heat.
Which pretty much wraps up homes and brings us into food. There are so many things that we had to say about food. We kind of narrowed it down because we didn't want to be too nitpicky and be like, oh, your bacon's different than our bacon. Like, yeah, that's just how food works. But there are some valid points, at least I think that they're valid points.
And there's also the constant conversation of, British people and their food, or Americans have too much fat, and it's not, we're gonna skip all that.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk more of the specific things, or
like a cultural experience thing, I guess would be the way to phrase it.
Yeah.
Now this first thing, kind of a nitpicky one. I know we just said we weren't gonna do that, but kind of a nitpicky one, and it more just took me by surprise when we first moved here. If you go and you order a lemonade, they will bring you Sprite. And that, the first time, if you thought you ordered a Dr. Pepper and you take a sip and it's milk, and that's just you just weren't ready for it. That is what I experienced when they brought me this lemonade. And I know that they have lemonade, but you have to order fresh lemonade, and it's different than lemonade, which is just Sierra Mist or Sprite or 7-Up, whatever you want to call it. That's what that is. And I don't understand how the name change got so different, because lemonade is still lemonade, but it's fresh lemonade.
So I guess that's something to look out for if you are visiting the UK or visiting the US, to make
Yeah, they're different.
Get them crossed. One of the hardest things to adjust to when we moved here was the availability of restaurants. Now, we live kind of in the countryside. We live by Ely, so this isn't London or any big city. There's really not a whole lot of options available. There's plenty of fish and chips. There's plenty of kebab places, but apart from
Indian is everywhere,
Indian.
Plentiful.
Apart from those, there's not really a whole lot of different variety, or even just kind of chains for that matter.
Which I think that kind of feeds into like the American, like so much of our culture is like around, like it's got to be quick, you got to have availability, it's got to have options, and So part of it is really nice that like if we want to order takeout, takeaway. If you want to order takeaway, that it's like, okay, well, you know, we could go for a curry, we could get some fish and chips, we could go Nando's, like, you know, there are options, and like part of it's nice because you're not overwhelmed with choices, but then part of you is like, I don't know, I miss having like 3 different sub places, or fried chicken plus 3 different burger places plus, and that's all just like on the street we lived on back in the States. Mexican food, like it's everywhere.
Get a whole variety of things, and I mean, there's some benefit to that because it's kind of encouraged us to eat more at home, kind of learn how to cook the things that we don't have near us.
That's true. Sometimes you want to hit the easy button.
Yeah, who doesn't like to hit the easy button?
I just want Mexican food.
Get whatever you want. So not to say that we don't have a lot of options, we just don't have as many as we were used to.
And another caveat to that, it really does have to do with the fact of where we live. When we go to London or even Cambridge, plenty of food options, but I feel like in the States, unless you literally live in the middle of nowhere, you still have a lot of food options. Even if you live in the country.
Yeah, I was just back in the States 4 weeks ago, and I went to a very, very small town in Missouri that had plenty of different options available to us.
Yeah.
And compared to what Ely size was. So I don't, just something fun.
Mm-hmm. The next one has to deal with ordering food. And honestly, this one's on us. It's just a skill that you and I do not have, that it seems like every British person wishes to innately born having. And that is knowing when you are at a pub, if you order at the bar, or if you wait to be waited on at your table. And I feel like everybody pretty much just knows whether or not you need to go straight to the bar and you place your order for food and drinks, or whether somebody's gonna come to you. And I don't know how to figure it out. There's no signs. There's no like telltale. Like I don't have it, and it's gotten even more confusing with COVID because there's so many more places now that are wanting you to sit down to keep social distancing. And still everybody knows what to do, and I don't know how you know. So it's just like, it stresses me out. It's not more of like I don't get it. It's more just like, I don't get it. Like,
if you guys know a trick, let us know. We want to stop looking like fools.
Yeah. So like, oh, if the door's oak. Yeah, I just don't understand.
The next topic is waiters bringing the bill to the table. We've learned that there's quite a difference between the speed and pacing at a restaurant here than in the US. Here it's, let's go and make it an enjoyable experience about going out. Like it's a good thing to go out. And in the States, it's all about quickness and convenience.
I wouldn't say all about it, but I would say that is a feature. Like,
let's say a majority of places are going to cater towards the speed and convenience of it. Now, there are those restaurants that you go and sit and enjoy yourself, but it just continually catches us off guard sometimes because we'll be going to the cinema, or we have things that we have to attend to. So we've kind of adjusted our schedule to where when we go and sit down, we know exactly what we want when we sit down, so we don't waste any time. And usually when they bring the food to us, we ask for the bill right after that. Now I understand why it's like this. It's because here in the UK and Europe, actually the waiters are paid a fair amount, so there isn't a hurry to shuffle you out so they can get tips like in the US to make their money in their living wages, like,
which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. But I am so used to, you go to a restaurant for food, and socializing is done like, you of course you socialize while you eat, but that's not like why you're there. you're there to eat so that way you can get on to the next thing. And you have to get out of that person's section so that way they can get the next person in. So when you and I sit down and like, you know, the waiter will come over after 10, 15 minutes and like, you know, maybe they'll have popped over to take your drink order, but it's like, no, I got a movie to catch, like maybe this is on me, I should have came earlier, but I was speaking with a couple of people that I work with that are British, and they mentioned how extremely frustrating it would be if the waiter came over to your table immediately after you sat down. Like you were just trying to gather your thoughts and look at the menu and chat with people, and then all of a sudden you're being rushed. And for me, I feel like that's just good waitstaff. So it's more of like just how you grow up kind of thing, but getting over that, like calming yourself down to sit down and get a meal it's so frustrating. And then our last one with food is ice. And this is more of a me thing because I think that Jordan's pretty much fine. But I love ice. I love it so much. And I don't always ask for it here, and I have gotten used to just not having ice and things. But I miss it so much. And in the States, it's just like you get ice with every single drink, no matter, I mean, not every single drink. They don't bring you like wine with ice. Everywhere you go, like if you get a soda, you get whatever, like they're gonna put ice in it. And I know it waters down the drink, but I don't care because I really like ice. So I miss it, and I wish that they did it here. So
back in the States, I usually didn't prefer ice with my drinks. It watered down the drink, but at least the drink was cold when it was served. Here, it's room temperature to a tiny bit colder because they have these fridges, or at least that's what I've seen at like markets and stuff. These fridges where the sodas are on display and you can just take them out. So all this refrigeration for these drinks is just let out into the air, not for the drinks, so they're warm. So kind of want ice now, kind of don't. I'm in this dilemma. Things I don't understand.
On to our next category, which is literally just miscellaneous. It's just random things that we were like, I just don't understand. And the first one is the labeling of floors. Now I get it now, but let me tell you, the first time that I walked into a building and they said, please go to this facility, it is located on the first floor. I walked straight into the building and was like, oh, I'm on the first floor. And they were like, no, you have to go up a flight of stairs. And I'm like, what? And they're like, this is the ground floor. That's the first floor. So now when somebody says meet you on the second floor, you have to go up 3 flights of stairs to go to the second floor. Because you walk it. I get it now, but like it still doesn't clock in my head all the time. So like, I don't know. I prefer if there's 3 floors. Three American floors, 2 British floors. If they just say meet me on the top floor. Just keep going till they're out of stairs. Like, perfect, I got it. And the next one, just miscellaneous, is no drinking fountains. Now, from what I was reading and from what I was talking with my my British co-workers, there are drinking fountains in like schools. However, from what we've seen, like if you go to a shopping facility or whatever, you won't find just like a water fountain available. And they're everywhere in the States. They're in parks, they're in schools, they're in shopping malls and business, like they're everywhere that you can just fill up your water bottle and just get fresh water wherever you go. And maybe I've taken that for granted, but like it's just something that I miss. So I'll still bring a reusable water bottle with us most places, but like once you're out of water, you have to buy water and fill it up. I don't know. So I don't quite get that. And when I was talking to my British coworker, she was like, I don't know if people would use it properly. She was like, I feel like if they were located near pubs, they'd end up being used as like a toilet. And I was like, no, I don't think so. Like people don't do that. Like if you ever seen the episode of Parks and Rec where they're like trying to teach the Pawnee citizens how to use a water fountain, they just stick their whole mouth on it. I don't know. That's what she was worried about. She was saying that she was like, what if they put their lips on it? And I was like, you people just don't do that.
The next topic on the miscellaneous list is TV tax. Now, when we first moved here, I thought it was a tax to watch TV. Well, not quite. It is a tax to watch live TV. This isn't a huge deal for us because we primarily stick to shows.
Oh, we stream everything.
Well, yes, we stream everything, but it's primarily on Netflix or Amazon or Apple TV or any of those platforms that don't require this TV tax. But if you want to watch live sports, if you want to watch stuff that airs that day,
somebody streaming,
live streaming, you need that TV tax. And it's not cheap. It's about 200-ish pounds for the year. I guess the TV tax comes from the BBC saying that with them putting out all these shows without commercials and everything, which commercials are extremely common and caught me off guard going back to the States. They don't have commercials here. So I guess the TV tax kind of makes sense, but not in the sense that I would have to pay it to view
it doesn't
TV,
make sense for us.
like that it would come out of our pocket. We've decided to skip it. Last item on the miscellaneous list is driving.
This is probably our biggest complaint.
This
is our biggest thing we just don't get.
Apart from the fact that one of the few countries to drive on the left side of the road, sure.
Which is fine. We got used to that pretty quickly. However, the roads themselves.
The road conditions are questionable. They're uneven, they're bumpy, they're super narrow. The thing that kills me is we'll just be driving down a normal road, not busy, just some town, and there's a pole in the middle of the road with some concrete around it that says wait and let the other cars come by. But there are no cars to speak of, so you go around. The other things is like there's no street lights. Car parking is questionable, pretty much out the window. Now I get London. It's a very big city. There's a lot of buildings, a lot of people packed in there, but we're out here in a small town and most businesses don't have a place to park. If you want to park, you pull on the curb. Literally find somewhere to shove your car, get out and do it.
And then just like hope that no one hits it.
Like in the States, in a town this size, I would say almost every business has a car park.
Or there's designated street parking. Like, the roads will be big enough for traffic to go both ways, and then off to the side of that, there will be another car-sized space for parking right there in front of the business. But I feel like people will just kind of hop up onto the curb, and then, like, their car will be half in the street, half on the curb, and two-way traffic just keeps flowing. And it's, we've gotten good at it. I feel like I know the exact size of my vehicle now, where, like, I could squeeze through some tight spaces. But, it is nerve-wracking. That pretty much concludes our list for things that we just don't get about living in the UK. However, we could not end this video without talking about some of the things that the UK just nails. Things you guys do so much better that just needs to be adopted worldwide, but specifically in America. We need to bring this back.
So the first one is actually, along with driving, is roundabouts.
Roundabouts are amazing.
Love them.
It's so much better than just like four-way stops or intersections like that. They're safer, they're quicker, I love them. And in the town that we lived in before we moved here, go Lincoln, Nebraska, shout out. We had maybe 2 roundabouts in the entire city, and people just do not know how to use them.
And they're in a place that usually doesn't have a lot of traffic. It's way out in the middle of nowhere.
And people still can't figure it out.
And they still can't figure it out.
Next thing, absolutely, totally in love with it. It's one of my new favorite things that I get to do is afternoon tea. It makes me so happy. We've done afternoon tea on buses. We've done it in fancy tea shops. We've just got it takeaway, done it in our house.
You've done it at work.
Yes, I freaking love afternoon tea and tea in general. Tea needs to be normalized. It is just, I love it. I love it so much. It makes me so happy. I will be taking tea with me everywhere I go.
The next thing the UK does right is contactless pay.
Yes.
We didn't know that we needed this.
Totally.
And it really took off during COVID with everything being contactless. So, in case you don't know what contactless is, it's where you.
If you don't know what contactless is, you're living in the States. Like
you're living in the States. So usually your card has a chip in it where you can tap to pay, or you can upload it to your phone and then use the phone's tap to pay and pay for your items that way. It's amazing because it's quick. It's sanitary.
It has saved me too. Like times where I'm like, oh, I forgot my freaking wallet. That's right, I'm wearing a watch. And everywhere's contactless, so
You can.
we do our own sound effects. The next thing that the UK just nails, and I love it so much, it makes my heart happy, is neighbors taking your packages. Now, maybe this is where we were living in the States, but if you had a package delivered in the States, Amazon, FedEx, whatever it be, if you weren't home, you could either get it scheduled and delivered at a different time, maybe they would leave it in your backyard or something, or they could drop it off at the facility. But here, you could just get it dropped off with your neighbor, and it's a very common thing. Our neighbors do it with us, we do it with them. Since we've been here, it's been basically COVID the whole time, so we haven't gotten to know our neighbors, but like, it's just an expected common courtesy, and I love that.
And to go kind of off of what you said, in the US, if they do deliver it and you're not home or whatever, they'll leave it on the front porch or by the front door, and
It's vulnerable.
It's vulnerable. People can come and take it, or it signals you aren't home.
Yeah, that's true too. I love that culture. Like, I love that's just like an expected thing that everybody does. And yeah, we need some more of that type of love in the States.
So you may have noticed, I've done quite a bit of traveling. We have a whole YouTube channel based around that. This is made possible because of how easy it is to travel in the UK. Between the train systems that are easily available, pretty cheap, all over the place, to the massive airport of London Heathrow and having flights to pretty much anywhere in the world, or the regional airports that have flights to Europe for as little as like €9 to $11. Like,
it's fast, it's accessible, and I love it.
And you look at flights back in the States, like from where we have a tiny little airport that's an hour drive away from where we lived. And it would cost $300-400 just to take a flight from there to a connecting city that had more options.
Yeah.
Not to mention the flight to then your last destination. It was a lot. It was a whole day adventure to travel in the States. We're here, it's connecting flights to all these different locations for so cheap. There's so many different countries going on here. The UK has figured out how to make their entry process a little easier. It's chaotic now, but the electronic passport machine,
it makes going through customs so much less of a hassle.
So quick. In the States, the whole entry for the States is a thing, but you have to meet with an agent. Or even every other country we've been to so far, you have to meet with an agent.
They got a good thing going. One of the other things that just makes my heart so happy is that this feels like such a dog-friendly country. Restaurants, like places of business, all these different places, you are able, at least a lot of them, that you can bring your little pupper friend with you, and that means I get to see dogs everywhere I go, and I absolutely love it. I wish our dog was more happy to meet strangers. She's a little skittish, but yeah, it's so cool, and you get to see dogs everywhere, and it makes me happy.
Another thing that makes me happy is the environmental mindset around here. A lot of people have the ability to reuse things, or have access to recycling, or even have access to clean energy. Like, our electricity in our house is 100% renewable. That's just something we didn't really quite have in the US, that we could just flip a switch and say that's what we have.
Well, and I feel like in the States, it's so political. And it shouldn't be. Like, saving the environment should just be like something we all do, and it's something that's really important to us. And in the States, it's like a whole thing. Where here, it's just, that's the way it is. Like, you bring your reusable shopping bags, you use the biodegradable produce bags, like, you compost. Like,
for example, our US viewers, when you go to the grocery store, like here at Sainsbury's, they don't give you grocery bags to where you can just fill up all of your stuff. You are responsible for bringing them, or you pay a fee for a reusable bag that's good forever. If it goes bad, it tarnishes, whatever, you exchange it there. They'll process it, renew it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a bag for life.
So good. The last thing we're going to touch on, which is a huge thing that the US just needs to get on board with, that the UK does, and that is take care of the employees of this nation. Like we mentioned a little bit earlier, that waiters and waitresses, like, they're just paid a living wage. I don't understand why that's not a thing in the United States and why they have to rely on tips, and businesses don't pay their employees. But like, people take care of their people here, and like maternity leave, paternity leave, vacation, holiday time, like it's just things you get with like a decent job, and it seems like an outrageous thing in the US. And I mean, good on ya. There's more of like a shade at the US at this point, but yeah, I don't know, it makes me happy. There's so much about the UK that makes me happy, and I feel really blessed to live here. This was our top location. I love England. I'm not just saying that. We really, really do. We're gonna miss it a lot when we leave this time next year. But we just wanted to make this video, talk about a little bit the things that we've noticed that kind of like get under our skin or that we just don't quite understand yet. But hopefully you guys can elaborate on some of the questions that we had, or the misgivings that we had while we were going through this, and just let us know your feedback or things that you just don't get about the US.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today. It was a little bit of a different video, but it was nice to just kind of talk and have a conversation with you guys.
Yeah, so if you like this type of content, or you want to hear more of our opinions about living in the United Kingdom, just let us know in the comment box down below. And I guess we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.